Why are some houses selling so easily in this market and some aren't? You know, to me as a realtor, some of these things are common sense, but not to the average person that is getting the house onto the market. So I'm going to go through 5 things or 5 reasons why some houses sell and some don't. And again, some of these to me, I feel like everybody should already know this, but you'd be surprised. And that's my job. My job is to make things easier for you so you understand the market and the whole process of buying, selling becomes simple. I'm Athar Jafri. I've been selling real estate in Mississauga, in Toronto, and the GTA for more than 20 years. And my goal, again, is just to make things simple. So make sure you subscribe. So let's dive right in. Number 1, it's priced for the seller and not the market. So what I'm trying to say is many times a seller will say, I need this price to sell the house. I'm sorry to break the news to you. Nobody actually cares what you need, especially in this day and age where data is infinite. There's data for every single thing available at your fingertips. Buyers will only look at what is in it for them. And if this property is priced at market value, it doesn't matter what you need as a seller, guys. You have to get that through your head. If you really, truly want to sell, then it has to be reflective of the market price. Even if you're priced 3 to 5% above market value, in this market, you simply will not get any showings. You know, people want to enter the market and test the market. That's not the right way in a buyer's market. If you're testing the market, you'll be sadly disappointed because nobody will come and look at the property. Price is everything. That's number 1. Price is everything. And if you ain't priced right, it doesn't matter what kind of property you have, it's not gonna move. And the way to tell if you're priced right is the first 2 weeks once you've been listed. You will see the most number of showings if you're priced well. If you're not, even if you have the best property on the market, if you're not priced well in the first 2 weeks, you're not gonna get anybody through the door because buyers know exactly what market values are. And even their realtors, their agents that are representing them are, you know, working diligently to make sure their client does not overpay, because no realtor wants to go to bed thinking that they helped their client buy a property and they overpaid, especially in a declining market. Number 2, buyers have more choices than they have had in the past, or at least in a very, very long time. You know, even if your house isn't selling and you feel you've priced it right and done everything right, it's probably because they have like 50 other choices before they make a decision that they want to go see. There is too much inventory. But on a side note, inventory has been steadily coming down, but it was so far gone that it's going to take a long time for this inventory to actually come down to levels where it's a more balanced market or even transition into a seller's market. So another thing when it comes to value and choices, after they've seen 20 or 30 homes, if your property isn't the best value, I don't think anybody's gonna buy it, right? That's another thing. People want value nowadays. They don't wanna get caught up in a mistake. So when they're house shopping, they wanna make sure that their house that they are picking has the best value. Number 3 is that your property doesn't actually stand out from the crowd. So the last one we did was that there's too much inventory, there's too many choices. So you actually have to make yourself stand out from the crowd. Again, this is standard stuff. Everybody should know this, but I guess I get spoiled being in the industry for so long, expecting people to know these standard baseline things when you're looking to sell a property. So poor photos, can't do that. Dark rooms, you got to figure out a way to brighten them up, and the easiest way is just a brighter bulb. Clutter, get rid of those things that have been sitting in your house for years upon years that you've never even touched or used. It's just taking up space. You want to show as much space as possible. No staging. People go on the market without staging their properties in this competitive seller's market. Come on, you have to stage. You know, the stager has an eye for things that the masses will appreciate. That's why staging is the number 1 thing when you're preparing your house for sale. You know, it might cost you a little bit more in commission when a realtor is offering you staging services, but it's worth every single penny. And that extra money, the agent is not pocketing that, really, that extra commission that they're charging you. They have to pay the stager. But that money will come back around into your pocket because you will stand out from the crowd if you stage, because there are still many listings that don't stage. Remember, the first impression is online. They're gonna scroll through the pictures online. So if those aren't popping and shining and bright, you can almost just forget about it. You're almost dead in the water already, and your listing probably won't even get showings. And the generic listing descriptions. People will just punch it in, throw it in ChatGPT. You know when it's ChatGPT. Put a little bit of zest in there, make a story out of it, pinpoint the things that the seller really enjoyed with their family in the description. You know, the description is like the story of the house. Take that opportunity if I guess you're a realtor, or me if you want me to help you with it. We should be making a story out of the description and not letting that description go to waste. And obviously, this is obvious to make your listing stand out, is marketing. What are you doing to market it? What is your realtor doing to market it? Me, personally, I do this. I do YouTube, I do Instagram, I do TikTok. I get hundreds of thousands of views on properties that I list for sale because I understand that you have to get it in front of the masses. Yes, there's realtor.ca and those online websites, but that's not everything. There is so many more ways to advertise, and social media is free. And the reach you get, meaning the audience numbers that you get, it's unmatchable. You can't compare it to anything else. Social media is the #1 way to go to advertise your listing. So you need to make sure that when you're putting your house up for sale, it is standing out from the crowd. And finally, kind of to summarize it, number 5 is homes that sell create value. There's value in that property for the person that wants it. So you have to have the correct pricing. There's value if you price it correctly compared to what else is out there. Again, you have to have great presentation, and that presentation should include showing off parts of the home that offer you great value, because nowadays budgeting is tight. You know, everything is so expensive. So if you're feeling like you're getting some good value, you're seeing the points of the home that offer that value and they're on display for you to fully understand what kind of value you're getting, then it makes a big difference. Strong marketing, we talked about that already. And you know, even sellers, they have to be flexible with their showings. They have to allow showings. They have to be, you know, open to all hours. Not all hours, but many times during the day, they should be able to allow showings. Because if you're not, you know, it's hard for people to even come through the door. Just the overall package has to create value for the person buying it. And also in this creating value part, the seller themselves has to be willing to negotiate. If you're not willing to negotiate in a buyer's market, what are you actually doing? You're not in the driver's seat, right? So you have to be willing to negotiate to create that value, at least the illusion of value to some extent. It's not an illusion, but you know, get the feeling to the buyer that they are getting good value in the property. And you want to know something? It's not always the best houses that are selling. It's the houses that are following these 5 steps, that understand these 5 things, that are selling. So it does not have to be the best house on the street, does not have to be, you know, the cheapest house on the street. No, it doesn't matter. It's what's the value it's creating for that buyer. So I hope this helps if you are looking to sell your property. I make sure I go through all of these things when I'm selling houses. And so far, every listing that I've got has sold within a reasonable amount of time, and actually below the average of TREB data, what the average days on market is. So at the end of the day, if you want to sell, you got to be willing to negotiate. You got to price it right. You got to present it well. These are all basic things, but I just felt like it had to be said. I'm Athar Jafri. I've been selling here in the GTA in Mississauga for more than 20 years, and I hope this type of content helps you make a more informed decision. So make sure you subscribe.